1 in 5 suffer.
Erase the stigma.
Brain difference is not a crime.
Mental health isn't just your problem.
It's our problem.
And now, Mental Health Mondays with Marla and Dave.
Welcome to Mental Health Mondays
with Marla and Dave.
Yes, I looked up and there the camera is right in my face.
And you know what? I came in not realizing that I would be dressed in theme for the holiday
you were
festivities.
Just blinging.
It's beginning to look a lot
Looking
like Christmas.
amazing,
I'm
especially
red.
somewhere in there.
Okay.
Anyway, we want to remind you that the show is brought to you today by Mental Health Mondays, and we want you to donate by visiting NAMI San Fernando Valley, NAMI-SFV.org. Click on the MHM donations page. You do the same thing for Loving Beyond Reason. Click on the Mental Health Mondays. A tab pops down. There's the donations tab. We need you. We love you, but we need you to keep bringing this type of content to you. Today, we are welcoming back to the show Susie Traboulsi. Susie is the treasurer of NAMI San Fernando Valley, and she also owns and operates her own very successful accounting firm. You might remember from Susie's last appearance on Mental Health Mondays that Susie has an adult child, a son who suffers with a brain difference, and that's what we say here, brain difference versus mental illness sometimes, because we're doing our best to try to erase the stigma. Specifically, one of the things that connects us is our sons have similar diagnoses. Our son is schizoaffective. Her son's diagnosed with schizophrenia. So we understand each other's pain, so to speak, the struggles and triumphs. Today, we're going to go deeper into her story and look at areas where we can all help to make positive changes in our healthcare system, specifically the mental health care system. Stay tuned, because when we come back, another great discussion with Susie Traboulsi. Be right back.
Help someone who is struggling by supporting the National Alliance on Mental Illness and be a part of the NAMI effect. Hope starts with you.
Hey guys, listen up. Learn something.
All right, we're back. And so before we even start, because, you know, we become friends and connected to our guests. So Susie has a Marla issue, and I've been struggling with, for those of you, because we play all over the world. We're in California.
In Southern California specifically.
Yes, and the winds are whipping.
Windy and dry.
And so allergies are running rampant. And so Susie,
even if it's just the dust from the dirt in the air, it's a lot.
So Susie has permission on this show to be able to take a break and cough when she wants to. But in the meantime, put your hands together and welcome back to the show, Susie Traboulsi.
Thank you very much.
Susie, briefly recap for us, remind us of your personal story, the struggles that you've had with your son, and how his diagnosis caught you by surprise, because that wasn't really something that your family was familiar with, and also what drove you to NAMI for help.
Right. Recapturing a little bit from the last episode. So my son was perfectly normal. He went to school and he was doing extremely well. And he's he went to college. And he's a musician.
Yeah.
His dad is a musician, and so he had that natural gift of having to do music. And he was touring the United States, like number 4 nationwide in drumline.
Wow.
Very competitive.
A lot of people don't know
hard.
that's a big deal to be third in the nation with drumline. That is huge.
I mean, he slapped in gyms for months and very active, very intelligent, very creative. It still is to a large extent with the. I mean, they're still there.
The music talent is still there.
It's still there.
Absolutely.
It's just hard for him to focus.
Yes.
To have it, take it to any level at this point, other than simply enjoying it. So, going from perfectly normal at 19 and a half, which is a total bookcase condition for him, he developed schizophrenia. We had no idea what was going on until his close friend from high school tipped us. We got him diagnosed, and the battle started. There's no other way to really kind of call it, the battle of the illness.
Oh, absolutely is what it is.
The challenge of trying to give him as semi-normal life as can possibly be given. It's a very, very disabling illness.
And again, I always like to remind our viewers, and so many people are writing me, and I know that more people are connecting with this than you may know. But disabling a mental disability looks a lot different because you can't see it. So people treat it very differently, because when it's a mental, if I break my arm, you see that my arm is broken, and you're aware of my disability because
And everyone
I have
knows
a
to
cast.
watch out for this injured part of your body.
Please
Right.
don't touch my cast. My arm's broken. Leave me. This is hurting, or a boot, or whatever. But when you have something like our sons suffer
Yeah.
with, and that's the thing that's interesting, and that's
People
why the
are-
battle's so hard.
People are less compassionate towards his illness. They don't understand it, and it's hard to understand it. I never understood it until I came
Face to face,
Yeah,
starting
came
dealing with
right.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't get as much sympathy as the next person who's actually ill or disabled. And it started even with us. Like, even I remember, my husband, who's not his father, was having a hard time correlating. Like, why is he laying down? Like, why is he not active?
Right.
Why is he not picking up stuff? And I try to tell and educate all the people around me, and my loved ones, start with those at least, right? And everyone else who cares or interested about to know what's going on, that this young man is walking around with every minute of his day very ill. And I just had a really bad flu recently, and coughed and was uncomfortable, and I was like ready to pop everything I can to just get better. And I know it's temporary, but having that,
For them, there's no
you
special.
can't run from your illness. You can't close the door. You can't quiet down the noise. You can't quiet down the disturbance. So it is very taxing on a person.
And you just said something huge. The understanding that there's a finite end to something that we may be going through is another thing people don't really necessarily understand.
right.
There's a finite end. When you can be uncomfortable for 2 weeks. You can be uncomfortable when you know that the end of it is 6 months. But in
Correct.
our children's case,
It's
our
never ending.
it's which is exhausting.
Well, another thing that you touch on, Susie, is that a lot of people don't understand that the second wave of criticism is not really to people who don't understand our sons. It's to us, is what's wrong with us and our parenting that may have had some type of
Impact.
contributing impact or factor onto what our children are dealing with when they don't understand mental illness to begin with.
I stopped getting angry when people don't understand it. I just go into the mode of explaining if they care, they care. I try to show and teach compassion and every minute of the way, because let's say today particularly my husband was having a bad day and he was saying he did this, and I'm like, okay, do you think he wants to do this? I said, can we stop and think about how hard is it for him today? He's having a bad day. So yes, it is annoying, yes, it's not comfortable, but please think he's twice as uncomfortable as you.
Right.
And that is
Which
how
is-
I handle anybody that either complain or finds them odd or finding disturbing or find any behavior abnormal, is try to present the compassion side to it each and every
Which
time.
is not easy to do, to
No.
maintain that level of empathy, when we have to admit there are times when the things that they're doing, their behaviors, do sometimes get under our skin, but we have to keep in mind what they're dealing with is more difficult than even
Absolutely.
that. So how did you find NAMI in the midst of all that?
He was doing okay in the early stages because we got him diagnosed rather quickly, and we got him hospitalized and on meds almost immediately. And the fact he was vulnerable, young, and trusting of us, it helped. But then things changed. They become hostile. They become like, you don't know what's up. I've been well for a while. They tend to forget how bad it gets, and they deteriorate. There's a lot of ups and downs to their illnesses. Sorry, there's almost never a consistent level of wellness. So we always bless it when it's there, and we hope it lasts for a while,
As long as it
because
can.
they're constantly testing themselves and compromising their wellness by their own sabotaging of their own health.
Correct.
More than one way that I could think of. So when he got bad, and I was feeling like, okay, I need education. I need to know what's going on. What else can I do? Other than just hand him a pill or take him to a doctor and have him prescribed.
So put a pin in that. We'll come back to that after this next break, and we'll find out more about how you found NAMI and other situations that your son had to deal with that actually propelled you to the next level.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
When Dave and Marla get together, it's hot.
Bad.
What are you doing?
Worthless.
Don't trust them. They'll hurt you. You're worthless.
It's pointless.
When the pain of schizophrenia meets hope, everything can change. Help someone who is struggling by supporting the National Alliance on Mental Illness and be a part of the NAMI effect. Hope starts with you.
You look bad last time.
All right, post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, is a real illness. You can get PTSD after living through or seeing a traumatic event such as a war or a hurricane, a storm, being physical abuse like rape or other physical abuse, or even a bad accident.
And these days, the news. PTSD makes you feel stressed and afraid after the danger is over. It affects your life and the people around you.
PTSD can cause problems like flashbacks or feeling like the event is happening all over again, trouble sleeping or nightmares, feeling alone, angry outbursts, feeling worried, guilty, or sad.
PTSD can happen to anyone, even children. Medicines can help you feel less afraid and tense. It might take a few weeks for them to work. Talking to a specially trained doctor or counselor also helps many people with PTSD.
If you or anyone you know needs help dealing with any of these issues, please seek professional help. This message is brought to you by Mental Health Mondays with Marla and Dave.
David is a thinker.
I never do anything without thinking about it first.
Marla is a feeler.
I basically wear my personality on my sleeve.
But when Marla and Dave get together, it's like a match dancing with a firecracker.
Okay, Susie, you were telling us how at the beginning, you felt like you can handle your son's situations, and we know exactly how that is. But there are times when they start to try to figure out what's going on with them, and they start thinking about things that don't really add to the cohesiveness of the family in the household. Tell us how you dealt with that, and you were telling us how that drove you to NAMI.
Well, when his condition became overwhelming, and we just we needed education. It was simply so. I went on the internet and started to see what's out there, who is exactly like him, because the MD that we had, he gives 15-minute and prescription, and off you go.
Yeah, psychiatrist, right?
Yeah, right. Medical doctor, which is the psychiatrist, not psychologist.
Not therapist.
The
yeah.
highest level possible. And then, so we started to learn. I surfed the net. I found NAMI. I contacted them. I had amazing feedback. I owe it all to Jim Randall. He was very proactive. He contacted me, booked the appointment, booked the classes. And right there and then I knew that was my calling as far as the volunteering aspect of things. I needed to volunteer for 500 reasons. One of them is learning about my son. And second, it makes you feel good when you give back to the community, since you can't fix your son. You can't fix your loved one. It's not going to go away. So it kind of gives me a certain level of satisfaction knowing that I'm helping as much as I can possibly can by volunteering.
Now that's amazing, and we love you for that
yes.
because a lot of people don't understand that that's an overwhelming sense that happens to all of us who deal with these issues, and that is that once you realize that it is what it is for you, maybe you can help someone else get to where you are a little bit sooner without all of the pitfalls that you had to go through dealing with these types of issues. So talk to us right quick also about the facility in Long Beach where your son was. That you said at the same time was a lifesaver, but then you started to notice some of the things that didn't quite add up to what would be most beneficial for your son.
Right. So as he got older, he started to feel like, I'm in charge, I'm a man, you can't tell me what to do. That sense of vulnerability went away, and he started, and his illness got intensified. And it became really life-saving to actually have him in a controlled environment that was more than what we could offer at home.
Right.
And, they had 24-hour staffs. They had a lot of staff, daily MD. And it was needed. It was definitely not the ultimate choice, and definitely not the key to wellness, but definitely the
At
key
the
to
time,
life-saving.
Well,
Yes,
this is what I was
absolutely.
going to say, and I have
Key
to
to life-saving.
I have to jump in and share this right quick.
Right.
Again, with all of our viewers, it's safety.
Correct.
It's safety first and foremost. You're
Correct.
trying to get your loved one safe, and then subsequently, it's safety for you and your household.
Right. So as soon as you start thinking, well, you don't have a choice. I mean, a safety aspect falls apart from my 500 directions, from him not good to himself, from him harming us, because now his mind was completely really scattered, and there was no sense of direction. He was not listening to us. We could not protect him. We could not give him the care he needed. So that was a final and really desperate resort for help. And unfortunately, it's hard to get it. It's not very much available. It takes a year and a half waiting list. You gotta ask and beg and just reach out for a lot of people to see how you could take them in.
Right.
And one
And
of the other
then-
things that you brought up was the fact that after a while, you were driving out there. It's a long way down to Long
every
Beach from
day.
here.
It wasn't a while.
and
It was
every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
But then they started, I was saying after a while, they started saying that, we don't want you to come every day.
Right.
We don't want you to come as much. Let's remove the family as part of your support group for now. And how did that work out?
Yeah, actually, that was terrible side to the IMD, in particular to Long Beach. They got reprimanded. They violated patients' right, and they got reprimanded. DMH stood behind me on that deal.
Which is another big thing. You literally had to let your voice be known that something is not being done correct
I
here.
gave it
and
like
kind
a
of
month.
advocate.
I told them we will try it, but I started to feel that it wasn't like a 1 week or 2 weeks. They were gonna make that the style of treatment. Their biggest and most negative item about IMD, other than of course my son is in a controlled environment and I felt he was at least safe, it was they did not at any point in time team up with the parents. At no point in time. I learned a lot, and I thought, and I totally today believe, had we had been more of a team, I think I would have been better for my son.
Yeah.
Then, today, and tomorrow. Luckily for me, my sixth sense kicks in, and I tend to notice and learn by default because I care and I need to save the day. I need to know what works. How am I gonna do it so I can get him better and get us in a comfortable situation
Your sixth sense.
from a safety perspective.
And also, Susie, I have been in a board meeting with you. You're feisty. She's it's a good way.
That's not a good
Because-
thing always.
well, it's a good thing
When you're advocating for your loved
when
one,
you're advocating
absolutely.
and you need to move the measures to benefit those that we know that are suffering. It is a great thing, and I'm grateful for that.
I believe in
It's a great thing.
I believe in protecting the weak and the illness.
Okay, we'll be right back.
All right, that poll question music lets us know that it's poll time. It's very festive. It's very upbeat. And so it puts us in a different mindset. Marla, what was the poll question last week?
You're not going to comment to my pole dancing?
Oh, well, Marla, I would say that your pole dancing, especially with those beautiful fingernails.
My talent is
that
wasted.
match your outfit, by the way.
The poll question last week is, what percentage of U.S. adults suffer from anxiety disorders? A, 19%, B, 27%, or C, 34%.
Now, usually we have our guest take a stab at it, but Susie
I'm going to
has
stab on
asked.
Susie's behalf.
Okay, you.
I hate losing.
Well, Susie.
Susie, well, I'm going to tell you. I'm not sure. Honestly, if I have to be honest, I think that you're magnificent, and I think that we're going to go through this life at friends, but I won't be taking you to Vegas.
And the reason why is it's 19%.
If you're talking to me, I have 34%.
There you go.
All day
The
long.
percentage of U.S. adults that suffer from anxiety disorders, and this was actually pre-pandemic, so who knows? Susie might actually be right.
Yeah, sure.
But the official answer has to be 19%. The poll question for next week is...
What percentage of state prisoners have a recent history of a mental health condition?
Your options are A, 11%, B, 17%, or C, 24%.
Now, Susie, here's what's cool about this. You
I
get
think
to
it's
answer.
24.
You get
because
to answer
it's the
again.
Largest, they say the largest mental institution is actually the jail system.
And here's the thing: you
and
may
so
have
duly noted.
you may have won, but
We won't
you
know.
won't know
I'll
until
have
you
to
watch
watch
next
you
week.
next week.
Absolutely.
right.
Hey, guys, remember to log on to either NAMI San Fernando Valley or Love and Beyond Reasons website and click on the Mental Health Mondays tab. Right there's a pull down for your donations.
And
we need you.
Watch Susie win back her right to go to Vegas with me. Vote.
Absolutely.
We're back. So go ahead. We were.
I think we kind of cut you off there, Susie, as we keep doing every time we go to a break. So we do apologize for that. But you were saying that you made your voice heard and you advocated for your sons, the separation that they were kind of seemingly putting in place between your son and his family, you and the rest of the family. And you went to the Department of Mental Health themselves to really get them behind you. Not only did they agree with you, but they reprimanded the facility and forced them to be re-educated, their staff to be re-educated on the need for a support system, which we've talked about many times here on this show. Your family, your spiritual leadership, whatever that may be, your doctors, your therapists, all that is part of a healthy support system and should never be taken away.
They had the way they ran the whole program is that it's my son is theirs and you completely and utterly out. They felt like he has a behavior problem and we're here to fix it. And that's not what was my approach on that. It was really sad because the very little that they engaged me in actually was beyond valuable at home. And it could be as simple as this: don't reward bad behavior, right? And there'll be times where I'll go to pick him up on a Saturday. This is well into like a year after he's been already in a locked facility. And it'll be like they won't let him come in. So instead of having to sit with me and let me know, they'll be like, well, he's not going out. Well, what ended up happening was he must have had pot or he didn't go to a class. So, but instead of telling me, listen, this is how we're training him, like give me the positive side of a negative behavior
Right.
or a negative action to a negative behavior. You know, when you're coming in and you're excited and you want to pick up your son and he's not out,
They were just keeping you out of the
loop.
loop.
Like go nuts, like
Yeah.
yourself, and like, what did he do that was so bad? And then there was always this one nurse or two nurses that would come up and say, "Well, listen, he did do pot. We're not sending him out because we're punishing him, because we feel that he's not gonna be safe." That satisfied me,
Right.
and it took me to the next level of being comfortable and understand that we're working together on this.
What was the initiative that you were able to? What changed?
You know, if I tell you this, I don't want anyone getting in trouble.
No,
it
no,
was
no.
just being nice to them.
Right.
It could be as simple as, they're not allowed to take meals. They're not allowed to take
Got
thank
it.
you cards. But whatever I could do, and I'm not gonna say
I
what
got
I
it,
did.
I got
because
it, I got it.
They'll seriously get
Right. No, I
reprimanded
get it.
for being nice.
You basically what you're really
I
saying.
just kept, they kept seeing a soft side of me, and I kept trying to reach. So if there's 10 of them, I will go to the soft ones,
Yeah.
and I will get on their side. and
Ones that
I'll
were
say,
more
"Please."
receptive
Well,
to your
basically,
perspective.
what
Please.
Susie's saying is you literally involved everybody in your community of care. All those that were there,
Yeah.
you showed care, and then
Yeah.
you involved this community, which in retrospect paid off for your loved one.
I kept being persistent,
Mm-hmm.
wanting them to be a team with me.
Right.
Well, let's turn the corner a little bit once again, Susie, because one of the things that, first of all, we mentioned in the introduction that you have your own successful accounting firm and you're the head treasurer for NAMI San Fernando Valley. So we know that dealing with the finances is kind of your thing. One of the things that you've become almost an expert in is also being able to find money for families that are trying to deal with these situations. A lot of people don't know that you can receive money for taking care of your own child.
Yeah, funny that you said that. Yes. So what happened is, now that I stabilized, Sean, we're gonna connect the dot to this, because I did not know that at that time. I was asking everyone, what can we do? This cannot be the solution.
Right.
We have an adult, amazing heart, locked. It's not the way to go.
Yeah.
And nobody had the answers. So it wasn't until I went to a seminar and found out that mental health has social services that they support you, because almost all of us, as soon as we turn 17, 18, adult brothers, young, brothers, sisters, parents, we all have to go to work to make money. No one has the ability to simply stay home and watch.
Someone
24
does, but
hours.
no one that I know personally.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And we're all like, some of us a little more blessed, some
Right.
are less. But ultimately, we have to work to continue to turn that
Correct.
light on. And I found that eventually, as I was engaged and tried to
Yes,
learn and go
SSI,
to
yeah.
seminars and go to conferences,
Absolutely.
that mental health does get social services, like someone who had broken his leg, or that he's elderly and not able to cook because he developed dementia and so on. And so I dug deep into it. And yes, based on your loved one's illness and the extent of it, you get different scale of services, enough that one of the family member, or simply someone who does it for a living, can sit and really dedicate the time
To
keep
care.
them healthy
Absolutely.
Wow.
and make enough money to do that.
That's amazing.
Absolutely. So our guest is Susie Traboulsi. We'll be back with Susie, and we will continue the discussion. Don't move.
Bad.
Worthless.
Don't trust them. They'll hurt you. You're worthless.
It's pointless.
When the pain of schizophrenia meets hope, everything can change. Help someone who is struggling by supporting the National Alliance on Mental Illness and be a part of the NAMI effect. Hope starts with you.
It's raw, real, and unfiltered.
Susie, you never disappoint. Always great information. You have been an inspiration to us and also to what we do here. And so I just have to personally, again, thank you for being willing to continue to come in and join us and bring information, bring your story, share so much with us that matters, not just to us, but to everybody watching.
Yeah.
And I'm genuinely grateful.
I want to say it's IHSS. That's a service that the department that handled these services. They may get a little bit of money, they may get a lot more. It all depends on the condition of the person who's needs it. And you have to communicate well with your doctor because they vouch for you for these programs. Along
Absolutely,
with a lot
that's
of other departments.
IHSS, and that is very important information. That's something that we all have to continuously look into. Susie, thank you so much. We want to let you guys know that Susie is also one of the leading donation go-getters for Mental Health Monday. She's on the ball. We love you. What you're doing for us at the show.
I believe in your show.
Thank you so much.
I think it's light, beautiful, and it sends a message. Mental illness is hard, but it makes it fun.
There you go.
I want to thank you for donating your time to make this happen as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we're glad that we had a calming effect, and that we Susie was able to we were able to facilitate
coughing, yes.
no coughing, but that's okay because your coughing did not interrupt any valuable information, and all three of us want to be sure that you guys know that every conversation that we have is worth having and one worth hearing, and you are absolutely not alone.
And people who are watching me today, donate. Please.
Absolutely.
What she said.
Program.
Absolutely. This is the perfect time to say what she said.
And this
Please.
is also a perfect time for us to say thank you in advance for your donations.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
We will see you guys next week with another super amazing show. Again, our guest has been Susie Traboulsi.
Hey, guess what?
Couldn't
It's
have
almost
done
next
better.
year.
We're getting close.
Wow.
We see we're wearing jackets.
Susie, we're gonna have you back again. Susie's gonna end up being one of those regulars, and we're just gonna do the TikTok thing and do this, and then our clothes are gonna change. It's gonna be fun. Susie's gonna have fun with us.
I'm always happy to contribute and always happy to be part of your show. And my commitment is there anytime.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Susie.
All
right.
Join Susie in your commitment to the show financially, and we will see you guys next
week right
Thank
here on
you.
Mental Health Monday.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.